It's about what was it, about 1:30 in the morning. Woke up in a cold sweat. I think I must have had nightmares, but I don't remember them. I can only assume that if I was dreaming anything, it probably was a nightmare, given that I woken up in a cold sweat. I just did some walking back and forth just to help calm down. Even though I know some people say pacing doesn't help, I think mindless pacing doesn't help, but I think mindful walking, just back and forth, left, right, can help calm down. Because if I sit with my own mind, or even lie down with the state the mind is in, it's too restless. So I need to increase concentration slightly to calm down by just doing the left, right. I suppose it's just PTSD that just needs to be faced, that I've just been trying to bury for so long with whatever, whether it's been alcohol or medication or sex or food or trying to make money, whatever it is. I've just been trying to heal these wounds. But now is the time just to face it. The only thing is facing it has had these physical side effects. Unexpected. I didn't expect to have the tachycardia, the heart racing as the side effect, but I suppose if that's ultimately, without meaning to, it came up and I started reliving the trauma in a meditation. When I was doing a meditation that I probably wasn't ready for, and the heart just raced to the point where it was hurting like it was in the suicide attempt. And ultimately that was my action. I didn't need to take that action. I was looking for an escape, and it was the wrong action to take, because trying to escape just isn't the solution. Life has to be faced. The mind has to be faced. There is no escape. There is no quick fix. Wounds, traumas, past mistakes, regrets, whatever it is, whatever we've done, whatever's been done to us, it's got to be faced. There's no running away from it. So that's the way I see things now. It's just got to be faced. I just hope there's no heart damage and I can just go home. I really just want to get back into my own house. I've never appreciated my own house as much as I do now, because I just so badly just want to be back in my own house. Because I've realised that even though PTSD is hard, waking up in the night, blah blah blah, at least in my own house I can just walk around and I don't need to feel self-conscious and people coming and checking what's going on, and it doesn't always help really. I just need to just be by myself. I can't take fluoxetine, but whatever, I'll just face as it is. Really, I was only taking the meds for sleep, and one thing my mom was right about on the phone, it's like, well, you didn't need to worry about sleep, you didn't need to get up for anything, so what was the point of worrying about sleep? She's got a point. There was no point taking meds just because I was waking up in the night in a panic. I guess I was phoning them and it wasn't helping, it was making things worse for me, because I was trying to use other people to try and help regulate my emotions, but that can maybe help temporarily, but in the end, one has to learn how to regulate their own emotions, which I've never really learned how to do. And I suppose that's one of the things that's drawn me to meditation, is that meditation can allow an individual to regulate their own emotions, which is otherwise really hard to do just by talking about it. I think just with meditation alone, it's sometimes too much to handle. Just in meditation, it's too much that can bubble up. I think a bit of talking needs, but the right amount, because if it's like I needed to calm down first before I could make this video, because if I just made this video straight away, it just would have been a video of me pacing back and forth and me talking myself into more anxiety. Whereas now I'm just talking it over a bit more rationally. So So I don't know. I don't know what's going to be happening later today, this morning. And it's either going to be a CT scan or an MRI, but I don't think it's going to be an MRI because I don't think they have an MRI machine in this hospital. And I know that my mum is saying radiation, blah, 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 just wait for the MRI because there's nothing wrong with your heart. But I don't know that for sure, given that this level is raised. And if I go back not knowing what's going on with my heart, it's just going to be another thing that's going to give me extra anxiety. And given how unwell I felt and how like pale my skin looked and the state I was in, like something wasn't, see, they're just here in the hospital. Obviously there's three perspectives going on here. There's four. There's my perspective, which I can see this is a combination of mental, physical, and even spiritual factors going on. There's a process here that's happening. The doctors are focusing purely on the physical. Then the mental health team here are focusing purely on the mental. And then, or a combination of the two. Actually, the mental health, actually probably both. Probably the mental health people here are seeing the physical, but the doctor's job, their job is not to understand the mental health side of it. So their job is to focus on what they know, which is the physical, which is why is this hormone raised, what is the physical reason for it. Now, I suppose all of these things should ideally be brought together. So, but only by checking the physical can they need to rule out the physical. Because if it's stress, that is serious. But then if the stress eases off, then the health condition can improve if it has been caused by stress. But they need to check the physical to rule out that, you know. And I feel I need to rule that out because I don't know 100%, because over a long period of time, obviously stress can cause health damage. So, you know, whatever it is, you know. But my mum is like, well, whatever it's heart damage, there's nothing you can do about it anyway, you just got to take medication. But the whole point is even if it can't be treated, you still need to know about it because you need to know what medication you're going to be on and if you need to have any further treatment. So I don't think she's just all obsessing over this radiation, but she's always done this like at the cost of other things. Like when we were younger, she didn't want people to have x-rays because of radiation, but then you're avoiding the radiation, but then you're also potentially leaving them with a broken bone. So I'm not making the same mistake now of going along with her, but I obviously also would rather have an MRI if I can, but I'm not going to wait weeks for an MRI feeling like this and not knowing what's going on. So if I have to have a CT scan, I have to have the CT echocardiogram. They don't have an MRI here, and anyway, it's going to be a long waiting list. So I'll discuss it tomorrow, and I'll just let her know. I said, look, I can't take the risk because I don't know what's going on. You know, I don't know why it's raised, it's come down. If I take the risk, stress alone, I suppose, shouldn't raise the hormone. Every time I think about it, my chest hurts. Because I gotta make my own decision. It doesn't help that she's panicking. I need her to be calm, not panic. She's panicking about his radiation. They don't want to purposely give anyone radiation. They just need to rule out different scenarios so they can get to the bottom of what's going on. You know, that's all it is. But they should just be straightforward and say they do tend to stick with CTs because it's cheaper and they can get it quicker. Not just keep saying, "Oh, that's the first choice." They may as well just say the reason. Otherwise, she's just gonna say, "Oh, well, only because it's cheaper." Blah blah blah. Oh dear. This is such a hard thing to go through, and I'm worried about my wife. Like, I don't want her to take on this stress either. I know that she's stressed as well, and she's got kids to look after. Just gotta take it slow, I guess. From now on, that's it. Though, like, I have to just have gratitude for life and not take every moment as precious. That's one thing my sister's right about. My oldest sister emailed me, you know, and maybe it's not the most compassionate or understanding email, but she is right. Is that life and health is precious. She's right. She's right. Sometimes the truth hurts because you know that you haven't always seen things that way. I've often just been anti just life and anti-society, just defiant, and that defiance just hasn't helped. It's just, there's no point of defiance that's just based on fear. If it's defiance based on, okay, rationally, I'm not going along with this because this is immoral, this is wrong, so I'm not going along, that's fine, but there's no point just defying people for the sake of defying. Like antagonizing people, you know. I understand, like, she's concerned about the radiation of a CT because I've had CT scans already and she doesn't want me to have a CT scan on the chest, but there's no point, like, both of us on the phone, there's no point us ganging up on the doctor because they're like the people treating me is just going to give me any more worry. I need them to do a good job. I don't want them to be pissed off at me. But in fairness, he says, I'll get the seniors to come and speak to you because he couldn't answer the question on why they weren't doing MRI. They didn't even seem to know whether they did or didn't have an MRI machine in this hospital. I don't think they do. They've got it at like private hospitals, and even then you'd have to go on a waiting list and they'd have to send it off, and this just needs to be dealt with. So, you know, it would be nice if they just did do the MRI, and then it would just, because it would do potentially a better job, and there wouldn't be any worry of radiation. You know, it would be nice if they would do it, but I don't know how long it would take to get an MRI. As I said to my mum, I said, look, if you want me to have an MRI, then pay privately for an MRI. If you're that desperate, because I can't do nothing. I can't not do anything. You know? I can't do nothing because I can't take, it's too much of a risk. I don't know. There may not be any damage. It could just be stress related why that level's gone up, but it's still quite unusual that level does go up normally when there's damage. They don't know something else, I suppose, is pushing it up. They don't know what it is, but it could just be extreme stress, extreme PTSD. It's pushed it up. In which case it will go down when I calm down. Then it will go down. I tell you, I don't want to go on any more psychiatric medications. They just fuck you up. What they do is like block what's really going, like they block part of what's happening, and then it's like they block part of what's going on, and then when you want to face it, you can't face it because it does all weird shit. Oh dear. At least I got my own room. I just want to go home. I just want to go to my house. I wish I wasn't ready for that meditation that triggered the PTSD. I was trying to rush things. I was just trying to like get to, and I don't know, get past fear, I guess. I didn't know that would happen. The flashbacks just came, and it was not a quick flash of the bathtub, being in the bathtub and the thing, and then stuff that happened with an ex-partner where she accused me of shit in a court case, and that fear of being in trouble, calling people, like, it's just like, it's all just bullshit. Yeah, I know I wasn't like the perfect partner, but at the end of the day, I wasn't like fucking abusive to her. Like what she's claiming, she's just saying that because she didn't want me to have contact with the child, and that really fucked me up because I've always had this worry hanging over me that one day police can turn up my door and like accuse me of shit, and like, you know, he needs to be questioned about this, that, and the other. And it's like, I didn't fucking physically force her to do anything. Maybe like convinced her to have sex with me or whatever. Like, please, can we do it? Like, but that's not the same as fucking rape, for God's sake. It may not be good, you know, but you know, when you're all kind of getting touchy-feely with each other and you're both laughing, blah, 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 you know, spontaneous things happen. It won't like physically force her. And like someone told her that was rape, apparently. Like it's amazing, like they're claiming what they know, like their perspective is more accurate than her perspective. Maybe her perspective, like she's traumatized by something that happened. And the funny thing is she used to talk to me about, like she used to tell me like, well, why do you masturbate? And I said, well, because sex isn't always available, because I have to masturbate. And she said, oh, well, from where she grew up or something, like in her culture, it's the normal. If a man really needs to come, he won't masturbate, he'll rape. It's just the norm. And I'm like, what? And I'm thinking, okay, so that's really what's happened. Something has happened with some place you grew up, and now you're projecting that onto me. That's what's happened. And I realize that's what's happened. You know, and I mean, maybe, you know, they, you know, if it was actually investigated or whatever, they would realize that, you know. If I was to say that's the conversation I had with her, so she knows what it is. She knows what rape actually is. So how could she claim what I did is fucking rape? It may have been spontaneous, and it may have been you know, not slow or romantic enough. But it wasn't fucking like forcing someone. We did it again after that, for God's sake. Like, it wasn't, it's just, these things just play on my mind because I've already got like this guilt thing already, you know, because there's things actually like I have done that fucked up, like proper things like towards my parents and shit. And it's like this shit is playing on my mind, but it's playing on my mind not because I think what I did is the most awful thing in the world, because I know, from my perspective, that was just spontaneous getting carried away when people are just getting, as I said, touchy-feely with each other, one thing leads to another, and then, you know, that's it. You know, things just one thing leads to another, but it wasn't like, you know, holding anyone down and forcing them. Like, it's just, to be completely frank, or whatever, just like moving someone's, you know, moving underwear to the side or whatever, like when they got a skirt on, and just, you know, she was like laughing and smiling, for God's sake. I was like, Mark, I was like, you know, it was like, just she was really like wet and everything, you know, like turned on, so I just, and I knew that's why I just went in so easy, like it was all wet, you know, it's just spontaneous sex. It's like, and it wasn't like instantly, as soon as we got there, we were like, you know, touching each other and everything else. And just, you know, maybe it was a bit rushed. There's a difference between rushed and rape. Big fucking difference. She never said anything afterwards, and for the whole time, the first time she said anything, like 7 years later, when I tried to request contact with our daughter, when she knew I was going to do that, so to block me, suddenly she claims she's been right. It's like, it's very, like, a bit convenient, don't you think? Like, I haven't mentioned it for all these years, but suddenly I decided that 7 years ago, actually I was raped, and this is why I won't let him see our daughters. What? You're just mentioning it now, and you're screaming in front of our daughter, oh, yeah, rape it. Are you fucking kidding me? But as I said, like, no one can escape their karma. If she's doing that shit, and she knows what she's doing in her own mind, using that, it's amazing the shit people will do, you know, to try and get what they want. Maybe I'm guilty of that too, doing fucked up shit to try and get what I want. But what she's claiming I did isn't one of them. Other things, yeah, I've been manipulated I've been manipulated, yeah, exactly, I've been manipulated and I've been manipulative. But that's her manipulating the system to get what she wants, which is to block me from ever seeing our daughter. Because she knows there's nothing she can get from me anymore, because our relationship, you know, didn't work out. She knew that it was just, at the end of the day, it was just a sexual relationship where we kind of got on a bit and maybe had a laugh. And she got pregnant because she came off the pill. or maybe she was never on the pill and she wanted a child ultimately so she can stay here because she was here on an expired visa. Yeah. No one, like, that's not being, that side of it is like not being told that her visa actually expired. So the only way she could stay here was by having a child. And she needed that child to be British. So she needed that child to have one British parent. And that's why my name is on the certificate. So she got what she wants. And then done an absolute number. It's a fucking joke, man. Anyway, what can you do? Keep going. Keep going with pursuing with Buddhism, pursuing with meditation. And I used to always give up doing it, thinking, oh, it's not working, it's making me feel worse, it's making me feel worse. But it does at the beginning. This is the thing, it can for a long time at the beginning make you feel worse because it's untwisting all of the knots that are so knotted, that have been knotted for so long, that one is finally now facing. So you've got either two choices. You keep saying, oh, I'm not going to face it, so I'll just keep finding ways to distract myself. Sex, money, food, whatever pleasures you can find, or complaining to people or blaming people. You can do that. You can go your whole life doing that. Or you can just say, no, I'm going to face what's going on in my mind. Even if it, you could say, I would say even if it fucking kills me, because I'm not ready to die. But it's just got to be faced. Even if temporarily that involves me suffering, because there's no point. It doesn't help in that temporarily you can gain some relief from maybe blaming someone else or pushing it onto someone else and blaming them or hurting them, but in the long term it just becomes a cycle of revenge that goes nowhere. This person gets this person back, then this person gets, what's the point? There's no point. It's true what my friend from America said to me once, and I suppose a lot of Buddhist teachers would say, like, revenge hurts the person that's getting the revenge at the end of the day. Sometimes I just looking for an escape, like doing the meditation to try and quickly get to like enlightenment, so fear would just disappear. But that wanting, that desperation is based on greed, based on fear, it's based on desire, and it's based on aversion. So you can't get to the place of non-aversion, non-attachment by desperately trying to get to it. It's doesn't work that way. So this has been by mistake. This is why it kind of backfired. Oh, I know. It's real at the moment because I'm getting a lot of like acid coming up, and it's like heartburn, and the pain is so near the heart that it gets worrying. I think, is it the heart? You know. But I see why they've got to just check what they've got to check, because those levels are raised, and even though they're starting to go down, sodium levels going back to normal, and bit by bit I'm starting to feel a bit better, they can't it's irresponsible. Like, I can't and they can't, neither, like, fundamentally, I don't know for sure. I can't leave hospital and not know what's going on. At least if I rule it out, okay, I know going forward, okay, it's just stress related, then that's good, because then I can work on that and become less stressed. But I need to know that, because it's too risky. It's not worth, I'm worried about the radiation of a CT scan. The problem is I've had CT scans in the past. Okay, so they may increase the cancer risk slightly. Well, we've all got to die of something anyway. So if it increases it slightly cancerous, okay, fine. And that's in the long term. Right now, I need to focus on what's right now in front of me to deal with, the risks right now in front. Not, this is what my mum focuses so much on, like a long-term build of cancer. But what's the point of, okay, so you're going to avoid getting cancer, but you can go on living your life now in fear of radiation so much that fear in itself is destroying you. She harms herself with that amount of anxiety, as I do. And this is me trying to find my own perspective, because you've got my mum's perspective. All she cares about is radiation, and you've got the doctor's perspective, which is, of course, the radiation is not, they're not being exposed to the radiation, so that, it's just how human beings work. Like, if they're not exposing themselves for it, they can, they're happy to. It's just the way it is. That they don't think, like, if they were for it themselves and they were doing it, and they would think, do you know what, I've got the money as a consultant to go and get an MRI. I'll avoid the radiation, I'll get an MRI. Yeah, that's the reality of life. Life, like, isn't fair in that sense, that, like, people who have the money available at the time that they need it can potentially get more effective treatment going privately, yeah. But unless my mum wants to say, which she's already saying she doesn't have enough money already, and I don't want to take any more money off her anyway, because it's just not right. She's already saying, like, she doesn't have enough to short on what she's trying to do, the work on their house, which ultimately is very important, because I've seen the inside of their house, and it's all over the place. They bought a house that needed a lot of work. It was what house they wanted, So people may look and think, and I may look and think, okay, well, could have just got a cheaper house, could have just got a house that didn't work, whatever. But that's their choice. Like, at the end of the day, like, I understand they want to just chill out and enjoy their retirement in the house that they want to be in, and they've worked hard their whole life, and they've been through a lot of hard time and a lot of PTSD themselves. So I want them to be able to relax. I don't want them to go through. I don't want to go through what I'm going through. And it's worse for them and it's worse for me if they're also going through their PTSD as well. It's harder for them to be there for me as well. So even from a selfish perspective, even just from the fact that it's just not right. It's like, yeah, they've done shit, but, like, they're still our parents at the end of the day. And I know, like, they may have some twists, and everyone's got their twists, and they may have, like, their way of coping. But I think over the years, they've just mentally been out of shape, and they've had no kind of grounding. No one's kind of, they haven't had a therapist to talk to, or meditation teacher or anything like that. They haven't had that, but a lot of the time, like, my mistake is I try to help others before I've helped myself. Be like, because you discover something, isn't it? It's like, discover, like, meditation, you discover this, and it's like, this is the way. But it's for selfish reasons, because it's like, you found this place of calm or this place of mental clarity. It's like, I want other people to feel like that or whatever around me, so I can feel calmer around them. But that's not the right motivation. The motivation should be to help alleviate their suffering, if they really wish to alleviate their suffering. And if there has to be some slight, at least, inclination in that direction towards something other than what they're doing. And some people are just complete materialists. They don't understand why anyone would meditate, and just, to them it's just sitting doing nothing, wasting time. I remember Mum's like, no, I couldn't just sit here and do nothing. I mean, no, I can't just do that. No way. She's like, Mark, you're not gonna get me to meditate. I'm just letting you know now. I just like, the thing is, I haven't been the best example. I can kind of see why, because what's been going on with me, and then combine everything that's been going on with me, and then me talking about meditation, like it's not a good reflection on meditation. But the thing is, it's not like they'll look at it and they think, oh, meditation isn't helping, it's making things worse. But actually, no, it's that things would be very difficult either way, and they would be just worse probably without meditating at all. They would probably be worse, but it's hard to tell, because sometimes if you try and rush things can spiral. That's why meditation can be dangerous, especially like without a teacher. But I don't know, I thought sort of like the medication would keep me safe enough to be able to meditate on my own and have that support of the physical medication. But actually, there's only so much medication can block before too much bubbles up, and all it does is seem to distort what's there in a different direction. Things come out in a bit of a psychotic way, because what's coming out can't come through naturally because it's being blocked. If you take the idea that the brain is like a filter for the mind, which I'm starting to see really is true, as hard as that is to face, because it's like, what, there's something other than this physical brain? There's like mind, consciousness, like a mind that's using the brain. But I was starting to think like, no, there it is. And especially the mind, in the sense of, even if we forget the whole rebirth and what happens after death and all of this, and the things that often people, that comes up, hell realms and all this, and it just generates huge amounts of fear, and isn't always very helpful. Sometimes a bit of fear can be helpful to kind of push you along into taking action and meditating. But for someone like me, I think, who already has a bit of fear, when I start thinking of rebirth and hell realms and stuff like that, it just you know, because I'm already fucking living hell just by even worrying about that. It's like, it's already like, this is already a form of hell. Like, my mind's in hell already, even though I'm in the human realm. It's like, that's, you know, there's two perspectives of looking at it. You can look at things as a physical place, but there's also that these physical realms can also represent places of mentality. Like, mentality can be in the heavenly state, in the human state, like, as like it can be, you know, hell realm represents the mind just being stuck in anger and unable to just not feel angry, just trapped in a rage, not being able to process that rage, which is, I suppose, what the hell realm represents, or what it, if it is a physical place in the sense that it's depicted, then it's based on those mind states. So but I just want to send out goodwill to anyone who's watching, and please, I don't know if it's appropriate to ask. Are you meant to ask for goodwill? Are you allowed to ask for metta to be sent out to yourself? I don't see why not. if people at home could maybe pray or send out metta for me just to recover from whatever is going on with my body and mind, just so I could just go home. Because they clearly want, like they wanted to be able to discharge me. That's why they I know what they're gonna probably ask again tomorrow. Can I move to the other room with the without the bathroom, because the bathroom is, we normally reserve that for people who have got diarrhea and they've got to run to the toilet. But that's what I've been getting. And I told her I'm going all the bloody time. Literally just like eat and then gotta go eat. It's like just running through. And it's not always diarrhea, but it's still overly, like way more bowel movements than I would normally have, like multiple bowel movements. It's like, also I'm up now, right, in the middle of the night, like what is it, like 1:30, like 2 in the morning. I can't do this there if I'm in the shared room, or I can't do this like if I'm stressed, I need to go to the toilet, brush my teeth or whatever, or like go in the bathroom and fresh, like I can't, I have to go out, and then they're gonna ask what's going on. And all that can happen is with this type of thing is they could, if people aren't experienced with mental health and all of that, and they don't know that they need to come from a place of calm, and they all start saying, Mark, what's up, Mark, this, Mark, all they're doing is just helping you spiral, because you're talking yourself into anxiety, and they're helping talk you into a lot of people at risk, they just don't have the ability to talk to someone in a way which helps them calm down. Like, it's either one extreme or the other. It's either like, or like really patronizing, like, yeah. It's like, no, it's like, be real with someone, be straightforward with someone, be compassionate, you know. It's not that complicated. It's really just coming from, if one comes from a place where they really connect, like that feeling of care for the other person, care for your other being, whoever they are, the other person can just feel it. You know, I even sense that. It's like, I can notice by the reaction I get from people, like, if I feel angry towards a person and I walk past them, whatever, it's like they see it in my face and they behave in a certain way. If I walk past someone, or I go up to someone, or I have an interaction, and I send out goodwill in my heart for them as I'm talking to them, if I genuinely smile at them with goodwill or whatever, it's, that person now feels different inside, because it's like an energy transfer in a sense. That's what metta is. You radiate it outwards, and it's like a spiritual connection with other people. But this is the problem with the whole mental health system in general. They're focused so much on the brain, and that's all they're focusing on. Oh, this doesn't work for the brain medication, but they haven't even considered that maybe there's something else going on. The concept of the mind that doesn't necessarily need a brain, but it's just too out there for them to consider in mental health. They would consider it like religious fanaticism or something. But they don't even have to look at it as a mind existing in the brain. They can look at it as a mind, as Fi was saying to me, like a mind as a tool. You know? I'm gonna brush my teeth. This is I don't know why, but I've got like really bad fucking ulcer on the gum. Like it's all fucking red. I don't know. I don't think I'm not gonna. I could call the doctor. Like I think this is just stress-related ulcers. That's another mind running riot, because I know they say about like heart issues can cause gum issues or whatever. But it's really weird because like I never can find out like what is like who to trust, because most of the nurses are saying to me, you know, you're overthinking, you're worrying for nothing, you'll be fine, your heart's not damaged, they don't think it's your heart, you'll be fine, you'll go on living for many years, you're fine, you're younger, you're fine. And then the cardiologist department are like keep saying about this hormone suggests heart damage, but then they're saying they don't think it's so I suppose they've got to rule it out, the chance that it could be. But then what the hell could it, maybe, you know, my mum could be right. The email she sent me, there's an email, was it? No, that link. I'm not going to look at it now. I'm going to fucking make my head right. But there's some link she sent me to this article about how sometimes extreme stress can cause this release of this hormone. But and the thing is, the blood pressure had gone ridiculously high. But I think I had this last one with PTSD. It's like lack of sleep, and then really what I did was I woke up in the middle of the night, and rather than just allow myself to calm down and walking back and forth, I made the mistake of sitting and trying to fucking enter into jhanas when I wasn't ready, and I got PTSD flashbacks, and it went from there. And I've fucking learnt my lesson now. Like, do the walking first, get calm enough through the walking, don't sit. But then people said, you know, if you're very restless, sit and allow the mind to calm. But it depends, that's fine. But it's different for every person, because in my case, when I sat and did whatever I did with just allowing my mind to enter the different states, in a way it was entering these different states and I was getting this buzzing in my body, but in another sense it was blending in with PTSD flash. Like, it was all over the place. It was just a mess. I suppose they say it can be a mess at the beginning. It's all a bit of a mess. I think even Utadami says that, like, it's all like a mess as a beginning. But it could be multiple things. It could be like the PTSD flashbacks, trying to do meditation I'm not ready for, sitting before walking, talking myself like just into a panic, like overthinking it, and then also like reaction possibly to the meds, and also reaction mentally from the low sodium level, because the thing is that sodium is related to brain function as well. This is the thing. Sodium is important for brain function. It's an electrolyte. That's why electrolyte drinks can help you focus, because those electrolytes are basically help the brain with it. I suppose because the brain is basically the brain and heart and all of that. Like, they're partly electric. You could say like they've got some sort of current or something like that. Something like that. Some sort of electric element. So I think that's why we conduct. That's why we can be electrocuted, because we conduct, or something. We can conduct electricity because we're part electric. I don't know how that works. I've heard something to do with, the heartbeat is regulated by electrical current, and then there's certain amount of electro connections in the brain. Is there something? I know something in the heart to do with the heart rhythm is regulated by some sort of electric thing. But that could have fucked up. The thing is, it's like I was starting to feel unwell for a while before this happened, but I had no idea where it was, and I didn't think for a moment. I saw that it can cause low sodium levels, but I didn't think for a second it could be low sodium levels, although I was craving salt quite a bit, but I've had the craving of salt with my thyroid, so I wasn't to know it was low sodium levels. But it could all be linked. It is, because also you need sodium like for the thyroid. Like, this is what I realized: you can't take things out of context. Everything is related to each other, and it's hard to discern at that time what it is. Sometimes things just, there's no other way other than them getting more symptomatic to actually get to a point where you know for sure what's going on, you know. Even though sometimes when it gets too symptomatic, it just feel too late. But again, it's like, that's just saying things that makes me feel weak, talking myself into feeling bad. And that's the mentality that I learned, was like, oh, it's all over, it's all finished, there's no recovery. And it's like, sometimes that's I suppose that mentality is like a form of safety. It's like, there's nothing I can do with facts. Like, it's all like that type of mentality is to try and find a place of safety. There's nothing you can do. So, but it's just a cop out, because, you know, whether you choose to try and face things or not and get through things, you know, it's either you choose what direction you go in, or impulsivity and just natural inclinations of the mind will take you in whatever direction the mind wants. It's either train the mind, take it in the direction that you know is the right one as much as you can, or don't train the mind and just let it do whatever it wants, and then do a lot of regrettable things, you know. So yeah. What I've realised is dehydration can really affect mental health, because although it's not good to overhydrate, when I woke up in a panic and I went to the toilet, like, my urine was really yellow, and I was like, oh, it's possible to be so out of tune with your body and in such a bad mental state that, and so stressed, and wake up in a sweat that you don't even realise you're dehydrated. Yeah, that's what's happened. So I'm gonna put an extra blanket on. I'll tell you what, I'm not going to forget this. I mean, I know after the suicide attempt, I was like, once I started to recover and everything, I slipped back into my old ways. I didn't continue with meditation. I just slipped back into old patterns, and I didn't really appreciate people like I should have done. I didn't really appreciate life. I just slipped into bad habits, and because I was still full of just blaming everyone else why I did that. I did that because it was reaction to the way everyone else treated me. I couldn't cope with the way other people had treated me. I was too angry at life, angry at my parents, and it was almost like partly a form of revenge to end my own life. It was like, screw you, I'm out. That's how it was. So that was why when I recovered with the therapist, I recovered from a perspective of what they've done is cruel and vindictive to me. And in many ways, over the years, a lot of their behaviour has been somewhat cruel and vindictive, but taking that attitude was what led me to have so much anger that I ended up doing things, saying things which were far more cruel and vindictive than anything they've ever done. Literally doing something or saying something purely to hurt them, even destroy them. It just took me in. This is where therapy can just take someone in the wrong direction, because it's just from that soul perspective. The therapist has a perspective that it's all the parents, and I see why he can have that perspective, because he sees people in just the worst states that have just been so abused, and it's obvious from the first time he meets them that they're traumatized and they've been abused. And it was obvious when he met me that I was traumatized and I'd been abused. But that doesn't mean that taking the attitude forever that they're so awful, you have to keep their life throughout forever. It doesn't work to just cut people out completely. It just doesn't help. It's almost like giving up on them. When people have cut me out completely, it's like we all need, I think, in deep down, I know I need, we all need to be forgiven, in a sense. It helps us all to be forgiven, and it helps us all to be able to forgive. And I've had people cut me out because they wouldn't, what I'd said to them, they were too hurt. They wouldn't forgive, they wouldn't understand, and it hurts. It hurts. It feels unworthy, and I don't want to do that to my own parents. I want them to know that despite their flaws, I do have gratitude for what they've done, and it hasn't been a waste of time, what they've tried to do to help, even though what they've done to try and help hasn't always helped. The fact is that they tried in whatever way they knew how. They did the best that they knew how, even if it was at times really just not helpful. But we're all on this path, and in some ways, I've seen comments on some YouTube videos that say we choose our parents to learn the lessons that we have to learn. And in some ways, I think that can be a helpful way of looking at it. And you can look at it from a perspective of how we're all karmically linked. think without medication, in a way, it's going to put me in a position where I have to prioritize meditation even more. But to have the drive to meditate out of mental illness is just too much desire, too much wanting. I just have to allow, hopefully, the brain to just change over time, and the mind just to heal, and then the body just falls in line. And the mind is, that's what my sister always said, like, healthy mind, healthy body. Just I'm gonna try and get some rest. Thanks for watching.